Hello and welcome to another Snappy Chat. I'm Christine Bell. I'm super excited to be with you. I've actually been doing these Snappy Chats for about 3 years now. It's a long time, but I love doing them. And I'm so glad I always got people coming back for them. And more importantly, I have amazing guests, because what I've learned is that we are all, when we're in business on our own or with a few people, it can get a little bit lonely. But we all have the same challenges, many of them at least, and we can all learn and grow together. So this is what it's all about. And I'm super excited to have one of my favorites here, Brad Younger, as a guest. You have been on before, and I will get you to tell us a little bit more about yourself. But just for a brief introduction, obviously I know you very well through networking and then also working with you in your business. And now I'm your client, because guess what? It turns out cybersecurity is no longer a nice to have. It is an absolutely must have. Royce Blake, I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you for always showing up. So with no further delay, Brad, please tell us a little bit more about yourself, because you are a man with many, many great visions and many hobbies and many business ideas that are amazing. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, please.
Excellent. Thanks, Christine. It's great to be back on here again. Where do I start? Well, I have a cybersecurity business, which is running well. We focus on keeping cybersecurity as simple as possible and to drive the cost down, just to help people get more security in place, because if it becomes a community thing. If everyone who becomes more secure, we're secure together, essentially. And along with that, I do have the other crazy adventure, which is building rockets. That has evolved. So for anybody that knew my story, I started out by building some rockets. We were essentially looking initially to go to space. We've now got a very solid market that we're going after. I'm raising funds to build more rockets. We've flown our first rockets. We've secured our first couple of customers. It's actually been a very crazy last month. All that's pretty much happened in the last month. So it's been quite a ride, and we can talk to that a bit more as we dive a bit deeper. Yeah, we'll come back to the cybersecurity, because I wanted to bring back what we've done for you, Christine.
Yes, absolutely. And Michael is here as well. He's going to be on next week as my guest next week. Great to see you. Michael is in New York. Yes, what we can see in the background, if you haven't noticed, you can see there's literally a rocket behind Brad, which is very too. Yeah, amazing. We won't talk too much about that today, but feel free to reach out to Brad to understand more about Australia going to space and how you're helping making that happen. So I'm super excited for that. Yes, in terms of cybersecurity, it was one of those things that I felt that I could just ignore, right? That we could just, I'm a one-man band, work with a few people, work with some clients, why do I need cybersecurity? But it turns out that I'm a little bit behind, and most companies these days do require cybersecurity protocols in place. And thankfully I knew you, because I was about to lose a big client because I couldn't answer the 50 questions at all.
Yes.
Didn't even know what they said. So I'm so glad you came to my rescue, and I'm now your client, and you're helping me, and you're making it affordable as well, and making it much more simple, because I don't know about anyone listening in, but I'm one of those people where technology and cybersecurity and all this, it kind of goes over my head. I just don't really understand it, nor am I that interested in it. I hate to say that, because it's super important. But without your help, I now understand it is a must-have, because I would not have landed this client, and I would have missed out on a great business opportunity. So tell me a little bit more around, in terms of what you've experienced in terms of challenges yourself, I guess maybe in cybersecurity, but also how you've been watching other clients be challenged in this area.
Yeah, I guess the one thing I've definitely seen in the last few months is, so we all know, particularly in marketing and sales, building trust is a big part of trying to sell. So we talk about the know, like, and trust. Trust is a huge component. What we're seeing now is a lot of people looking to companies to see what they're doing to protect their data and protect them from these cyber threats that are becoming common every day. If we look at it from, if we look over the last few years, so 2 years ago, I was getting a notification probably once every quarter that a company was getting attacked. They were hit by ransomware or something like that. Into this year, we're now seeing 2 or 3 companies a day getting advertised that they're now. So cybersecurity is a serious problem. It's a serious thing that people are now looking at to whether they could trust the people that they're dealing with, whether it's a client, a vendor, in both directions. And it's to be honest, there's only a handful of things you really need to do, which is what we've done. So we've put together a program that puts those few things in there. We talk about how these days the technology is actually quite tight. There's not a lot of things that can go wrong with the technology. You just got to make sure your systems are updated, they're monitored, and you do simple things like create strong passwords and good password management and two-factor authentication. All that takes care of the technology side of it. And then it comes down to the human factors, which is 90% of where all attacks come from these days. From the simplest attack of being sent an email that says you need to pay this invoice straight away, down to the really complex. Earlier this year, North Korea was able to get their hands on $1.5 billion, that's a billion, of Bitcoin out of an exchange in Dubai, all because they worked the long game. They spent 12 months working on this one person inside the exchange, and were able to get to the point where they could get that out of the exchange. So there are 2 extremes about what happens, but it just shows you that 90% of hacks these days are all about the people and not particularly about technology. So if you do those 4 or 5 technology things, you don't have to worry about the tech. You just worry about yourself, essentially. Yeah.
And it's so interesting because honestly, we're in the mindset, and maybe other people can relate to it, or maybe hopefully one of the few that it's not like this. Yeah. We just Royce does have a question, and I'll actually get you to answer this shortly. How does Brad keep up with the latest threats? So I'll just wait, just pause 2 seconds. But I want to say this because maybe there are other people like me. My mindset is like this. Yeah. I'm just emailing. I'm not like actually integrating my systems with my clients. It's just email exchange. And I'm like, how difficult is that? How is this really going to mess them up? But then you're right, because there are so many of us receiving, and I received them too, these emails where it's like, it looks quite authentic. And you're like, oh, click on this. And next thing you know, you accidentally click on it and boom, you're done. And then it could impact everyone who's on my email list, I guess, because I kind of just thought, well, I'm just a little man playing, why do I need this?
Yeah, exactly. So, and that comes back to the what we're talking about before about trust. So I'm going to give you a bunch of my personal details. Can I trust you with that? So we're now at a point where not only do you have to have, you should have those protections in place. And again, we're trying to make it as simple as possible for people to actually be able to have that in place, but also telling the world that you are secure. So I've got a little handout we'll share the link about later, and on that, it's 5 simple things you can do in less than half an hour that'll get you secure. The last one in that is writing a little story about how secure you are. Put it up as a blog post or a LinkedIn post. Then you can use that to reference people. So if I come along and say, hey, Christine, love to work with you. What are you doing for cybersecurity? You can say, oh, Brad, here's a post I wrote about it. You can go and learn about what I'm doing. So
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's about getting in front of that and getting that message out that you are secure. And then that's just going to build up yet another level of trust with that client. And they're going to be happy to work with you. essentially.
Excellent. And we'll go into your download, your free download, and your 5 key recommendations at the end.
Yep.
So stay around for that.
Yep.
Moosey, it's great to see you. And Royce was saying, how do you keep up with the latest threats?
We use so we've got a couple of tool sets in place. We actually trust them. So one of those tool sets is what we call a endpoint protection. It's ran by a company that they go out there and they do all the work. I know that they do the work because they talk about what they do. So that frees me up to not particularly worry about the technology threats that are out there. That company actually looks after that. So there's as a business owner, I strongly recommend that you don't try and keep up with all the threats, that you just leverage these people that are out there already who are doing it. So you learn to trust them. So if you look at the cybersecurity, any certification process, the first step is generally engage a cybersecurity expert that knows what they're doing. And
it was certainly what I needed. It was certainly what I needed because honestly, my attitude is if I don't know how to do it, I procrastinate. And I don't know how many people out there that you've met as well that procrastinate when it comes to actually making sure the IT and especially the cybersecurity is up to date, because I'm definitely one for in the too hard basket because I needed someone to help me. Now, I don't know. Are there some people who want to do it themselves? I don't know. And what is the advice to those people?
We can get out. So there's aggregators of information that just start by putting in a Google alert cybersecurity threat. If you really want to get on top of it, to be honest, it'll be like just looking out at or monitoring political news or anything like that. It'd be exactly the same. So utilize those tools that would aggregate all that information. There's a good so we use a good aggregator, news aggregator. So I'm just vamping because I can't remember the name of it. Cyber Daily. So Cyber Daily will give you a daily email about any issues that have happened or any news in the cybersecurity space.
So literally letting you, so you can become aware of what to look out for.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a difference between being aware and actually being able to deal with it.
That's correct.
Is that?
That's correct. Yeah. So if you were to watch the news headlines in cyber, you might find that you'll end up putting your head further in the sand because it all just feels so overwhelming, where it doesn't need to be. Again, if we go back to what I was talking about before, there's only a half a dozen things you need to do. And then you trust those half a dozen things to do what you need it to do. And then,
I've got Jonas here. Great to be here, Jonas. He goes, thanks for the intro, Brad. What we see in media is only a tip of an iceberg of current cyber attacks. What is the estimated number of attacks in Australia per month? What is the ransom estimated monthly value?
Oh, nice questions. Excellent. Currently, so we're only seeing reported attacks. We do have some stats from the likes of the tools. We're probably seeing between 20 and 30 attacks a month at the moment, and increasing. So, and going after smaller and smaller businesses because they can get that. So, if they locked up your client data, you'd probably spend a few $1,000s to try and release it. So it is easy money for these guys that are running it, and they've built a lot of automation in it too. So the AI automation stuff that's you're using to leverage your business, the hackers are also leveraging to increase their business. So,
you
know
what?
Yep.
Now, one of the things that I find interesting is that I always kind of thought of it as something that big companies have to worry about, like the Medicare and the big whatever funds organization, etc. But I actually have a really great example from a few years back, actually before the lockdowns, before we talked as much about cybersecurity. I sent an invoice to my client, and it was a significant one. It was, I think, $18,000. So $18,000. So it's a significant one. Now, I didn't receive payments. I said, well, what happened? And the guy goes, oh, you didn't receive payment. Let me pay. And he said, let me pay you again. Maybe there's a mistake or something.
Right.
And I'm shortcutting it. But basically, he paid me twice. And I said, I still didn't receive it. Then we finally looked at the invoice that I sent to him. And somewhere between me sending it to him and him receiving it, someone had logged in and actually gotten into the PDF, changed my bank, so it was no longer ANZ, it was now St. George. I'm like, I don't bank with St. George. And it was and he'd been paying into someone else's account. Now, at this point, it was like, was it my fault or his fault? Who had been, and that was scary because I needed the money, I hadn't received it. He'd just paid out $36,000 to a stranger. So he wasn't keen to pay more. And suddenly we're in this place of, whose fault is this?
Yep, there's been
thankfully it turned out not to be my fault, but he had actually used his computer at his partner's office. Somewhere there hadn't been secured. They gotten into his, I don't know how they got into his email or whatever happened. And they literally was sitting and watching out for email that said invoice.
That's correct. Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah. So there's been some couple of headline cases in the courts, particularly in regards to that. There's been companies paying hundreds of thousands of dollars. And generally the people that don't put whichever side don't put the due diligence in place, don't have cybersecurity in place, are the ones that end up paying. They're the ones at fault. Generally, because it wouldn't have happened if both sides had cybersecurity in place. Now, there are situations where it could get to the point where potentially that it has happened, even though there's cybersecurity in place, but there's generally a weakness somewhere along the lines. It could be it could be out of the hands of both of them. It could be in the like in the ISP or something like that, and then in that case, it would have been found to be the ISP's fault, and they would be they'll be liable for any recovery at that point.
At this point, he didn't get any money back, but also, you know, when you think about it from a business perspective, this can really destroy a relationship, because now it's like, well, he's just paid $36,000 and I still haven't got my money, so we're both unhappy. And I obviously learned that with a PDF, I need to put a password on the PDF before I send it, and no invoice in the headlines, etc. But I also need more than that, cybersecurity, and he needed cybersecurity as well. There's a question here, by the way, question for Brad. This is Musi. With fintech and digitalization technology in rapid growth in Africa, have you ever thought about expanding your company's presence? And number 2 question, what is the biggest hurdle you face in the area of your business? And what advice do you have for an entrepreneur who wants to get started in similar areas? Get on a call with the Brad, Musi. That's what you need to do. But
yeah, pretty much. As for expanding, obviously we spoke about my adventures at the beginning of the call. So I've got a way on as it is. So I've actually built the cybersecurity business to allow to pay for the rockets, and not only that, but to give me the headspace to be able to do it. So I wouldn't be taking any more on. All the growth plans I have for cybersecurity are around reducing the amount of time I have to spend in the business versus work that would make me focus more in that business, essentially.
So you're really looking into, as much as you are an expert in it and you love it, but your real passion is the rockets, right? That's
correct. Yeah. And biggest hurdles in cybersecurity is getting clients to see the value in cybersecurity. It has been up to very recently. It's been like selling insurance. It's really hard. people are starting to see the more value of it. Obviously, Christine, you now see the value of it because you almost lost a big deal because of you didn't have cybersecurity in place. So people are starting to see that.
It became it became like instead of a nice to have that I'm going to think about sometime in the future, which is I think is the hard part about selling it. It's like, yeah, that's great. I know I need it at some point. Yeah, I don't, it goes in the later basket. But in case you hadn't heard this, Musi, as well, I literally was ready to go. I got a project in from a much beloved, huge brand, iconic global brand. They wanted to work with me. I was so excited, ready to go. And then like, yeah, you just got to get on the supplier list. So, and with the supplier list application came, was it 70 questions we went through on it, Brad?
Yep.
Something like that?
Yeah, about 70. Yeah.
Yeah, there were 70 questions on there and they were non-negotiables. And unless I could answer those to their satisfaction, I wasn't getting on the supplier list, and therefore there was no work for me. So it's no longer just about securing your business; it's also about bringing new business in.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And I know it probably felt overwhelming at the time, but looking back at it, there is only those half a dozen things I keep coming back to. That's enough to get you through those whole 70 questions that a big corporate's thrown at you. Essentially, so that's why we built this, and particularly put Clear Protect Essentials together, which is what you're getting as part of this, because it just fills all of those gaps and gets it done for them. Essentially.
And I think that's a big thing as well in terms of, I guess, selling cybersecurity, and Musi for you as well, in terms of if you want to start in this area in Africa, there's a huge need for it there, no doubt. Is worldwide, like pretty much, but is that it can feel so overwhelming, and especially when you get 70 questions landing on your table and you know nothing. I couldn't even answer one question. I'm like, I don't know what they're asking me. It was one of those where it was such a headache. I was literally like, I just couldn't deal with it. I'm like, I just got to walk away from this. But thankfully, I know you, and thankfully you offered your help, which was amazing, because I was ready to go. This is too hard because I just don't understand. But it's an essential now. It is not a nice to have. And it's not the only company that's going to do this. And I'm sure soon I'll see it from smaller companies as well, not just the corporates.
Yep. And if we look at this the other way, it is questions you should be asking of your both your suppliers and customers. Because if you're providing your own IP, your own stuff to your clients, they should be protecting that data for you as well. So it's going back. So
maybe that's what you need to do for me. You need to send me an email that I need to send out to everyone now. Yeah.
Yes. So it's back to that staying protected together message. So we're only as protected as the weakest link, essentially. But
So it's about securing our ecosystem, right? And all our stakeholders. Exactly. Everyone needs to be secure. So I love that. Now we have a completely different questions from Royce, back to space. And I know this is your favorite one. Do companies support each other, or is it cutthroat?
No. So space industry here in Australia is so in its infancy that we all support each other. So everybody's as supportive as each other. To the point where, so we've just had a big conference here in Sydney called IAC, which is basically a huge global conference where everybody around the world comes together. And I had companies walking up to us, we were there on the stand, and just big companies from global brands talking to us and give us some encouragement on keep going. I had a really good chat with competitors, so Gilmore Space up in Queensland. So I was able to talk to them, and we had really good conversations with the guys from up there. So,
oh, excellent. I want to hear more about that later on. That sounds exciting. Wonderful. Now we're about to finish up, so I want to come back to cybersecurity, because you do have put together a great free offer, as in terms of some key things you need to know and you can do.
Yep.
That I think you're going to share as well in the comments. Yeah. So you got a handout. You can share that in the comments. Do you want to talk through it briefly, or do you just want to share it? I don't mind.
I can share it. So it's just 5 quick things you can do to increase your security. There's a couple of main points. So there's probably there's 2 technical things if we run through them. The first is to put a cybersecurity policy in place. That doesn't need to be anything crazy. All you got to talk to is what you've done to get yourself protected. I've actually got a 1-page cybersecurity policy download template you can use to put that in place. Second and third are some simple, probably the most powerful technology things you can do. So one is put a password manager in place. Passwords are still the number one way hacks happen. So if you reuse passwords, just stop it right now. Use a password manager. You got to stop doing that, because that's what's causing these problems. So again, these hackers are out there. They've got automated bots that go out there and just test everything. So as soon as there's a big hack, so we just had one in Australia. The last biggest one was from Qantas. If you haven't updated your Qantas login and you reuse that password somewhere, that password is now being tested by all these automated bots on every other site that's available on the internet. So
I need to do that. I didn't know that. I didn't even know Qantas had been hacked.
Oh, right. Yes, it's been on the news. That was about a month ago. So
tell you how much I listen to the news.
Yes. Yeah, and then obviously 2-factor authentication is a biggie. Again, it's pretty simple. Just make sure you got it on your email and your accounting software to start with. It'll stop things like your invoice hack from happening. And then just telling the world how secure you are the last 2. So essentially, just put a note in your signature saying, "Hey, we take cybersecurity serious. This is what we do." And again, like I talked to before, we've got put up a LinkedIn post or a blog post about how you're being secure, and that's just going to help you win over anybody that's that you're talking to. It'll help build trust, help win deals, essentially.
Exactly, 100% helps, and it also avoids the little situation I had a few years ago around not getting paid because someone had hacked the invoice. So huge benefits, financial huge benefits. And if you're anything like me, you might be someone who's great at this and you can do it yourself. But if you're anything like me, just hire someone, because I was procrastinating for so long until it became literally something I was forced to do to get this client. So just hand it over, find someone like Brad, reach out to him if you're in Australia or where you are, reach out to someone and get help, because frankly, it's just a big thing off your table that you just don't have to worry about anymore.
Yeah, it's not as expensive as what you think. So less than $3 a day will get you covered for everything that you need.
And that's less than a coffee, isn't it?
Less than a coffee a day. Yeah, essentially. I did just try and post the link in the comments, except there's something wrong with my thing, so I've just thrown it in the private chat.
Okay. All right. I will put it in the comments as we finish up. So I'll go straight in and put it in the comments. Perfect. So thank you so much for your time. I think we're out of time now. Thank you guys for showing up and your great questions. We love them. So thank you so much. And thank you for being on here, Brad. I really appreciate it. And all your help with cybersecurity too.
Excellent. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.